Ever wondered why your guitar sounds like an ice pick to the brain? You've got the Strat, you've got the pedals, you spent months chasing that smooth, comfortably numb creaminess. But instead of liquid gold, you're getting a thin, screeching mess. It's frustrating. It's that universal mud or shrillness that makes you want to put the guitar back in the case and walk away. You think the answer is buried in dollar signs. You're looking at $5,000 vintage Holy Grail amps or custom-built pedal boards that look like they belong in a NASA control room. But there's the truth. The purer your gear is, the worse this problem gets. The secret to the most legendary tone in rock history isn't the magic box. It's a $10 piece of junk you've been told to avoid your entire life. See, a bridge pickup Stratocaster is a wild animal. It's a bully in the frequency spectrum. When you plug it into a massive high-watt amp, which is essentially a giant, loud magnifying glass, it screams. It's aggressive. It's biting.
I found on stage that it was sucking the high end out of what I was doing. So, and I think in soundcheck, I thought that that would come to life a bit more with the audience in.
It's an ice pick in the ear that refuses to be tamed. But listen to David Gilmour in 1973. That harshness is dead. It's replaced by a warmth that feels like a violin, a liquid sustain that feels like it could outlast the stars. Most tone purists today will tell you to buy the most expensive, low capacitance, gold-plated wire you can find. They want a pure signal. But for David, purity was the enemy. Imagine the conflict on that stage at Wembley. On one side, you have a high-end frequencies, the shrill, limp sounds trying to ruin the mix. The guitar cable is a small tone circuit. Now, all cable has capacitance, so the lower that capacitance, the shorter the cable. In other words, the less detrimental effect it will then have on the guitar.
It's just my taste as to how you want it to sound, how you want to bend things.
On the other, you have David, trying to find the human soul in all that electricity. He didn't use a fancy EQ pedal to win the war. He used 30 feet of heavy, spiraled, cheap copper. Yes, we ran a long guitar cable, which I later found out was probably not a good idea. You can lose a lot in a long guitar cable. A coiled cable is, technically speaking, a disaster. It's heavy, it's awkward, it smells like old rubber and ozone when it gets warm. It's basically a tiny capacitor that bleeds your high-end signal directly into the ground before it ever touches the pedal. The first thing to go would be top end. We would have been getting a somewhat mellower sound through a long guitar cable than we might have with a shorter cable. In the eyes of modern engineer, this cable is sucking the life out of the instrument. But for David, that bad cable was the leash that tamed the beast.
As far as David Gilmour's guitar overdubs, I mean, we did most of it actually in the studio out there with the headphones on. But on occasion, we ran a long cable into the control room.
It created a physical, lived-in roll-off that no digital plugin or academic setting could truly mimic. It changed the way the guitar felt.
And you have to throw yourself in your imagination into creating. It's an auditory trick, but it's not remotely accurate.
It turned the scream into a song. But here's where the narrative takes turn against all odds. In the mid-70s, Gilmour's rig went pro. He hired Pete Cornish, a legend who builds gear for rock royalty. Pete is the master of perfection. He wanted to use finest, highest grade wiring on the planet. Having a unity gain tube buffer as the input to my all-tube system allows the guitar to react exactly as if it were connected directly to the tube amp input. without the loading effects of long cables and effects pedals. He wanted to give David the purest signal path ever created. But when David plugged in, the magic was gone. The Gilmour sound had vanished. The room must have felt cold. Imagine being the best engineer in the world, showing off a masterpiece of technical perfection, only to be told it sounds wrong because it's too clean.
Every time I listen to the actual original recording, I think, God, I should have really done that a little bit better. But I mean, the idea was that it was like a guitar playing on the radio and someone in their room at home, in their bedroom or something, listening to it and joining in.
It was sterile, it was thin. It lacked the weight of the gear David had grown to love. Never be frightened to add bottom end if you're a guitarist. I often do that. Electric guitars can sound hard and thin, and rather than try and remove that hardness, I add some bottom end on the console to smooth it out. The twist? Pete Cornish actually had to build specific faker circuits into those multi-$1,000 boards just to simulate the electrical flaws of a cheap $10 coiled wire.
We were clueless for a long time. We were faffing about blindly, trying to find a way forward, and that sort of blindly wandering about, not knowing what the fuck we were doing, was what...
One of the most expensive guitar rigs in history, and it was designed specifically to act like a piece of junk. We spent our lives trying to remove every flaw from our signal chain. We want the clearest, loudest, most true sound possible. But David Gilmour knew better. He knew when to let the gear's limitations work for him. He leaned into the bad technology to find a good soul. If you want that soaring velvet lead tone, stop chasing perfection. Stop buying better gear. Go find a basic heavy coiled cable, the kind that feels a little too heavy in your hand and tangles under your feet. Plug it directly into your guitar. You'll notice the change immediately. Your fuzz pedals will stop sounding like a swarm of angry bees and start sounding like a human voice. It's the simplest tweak you can make. Every set of fingers sounds different, and believe it or not, the guitars, the amps, the effects pedals, all those things are subsidiary to the fingers. And they do the work, and they do the talking, and they are what creates the sound. It's the one thing that actually connects the kid playing in his bedroom to the legend standing on the stage at Wembley. Sometimes the secret isn't what you add to your sound, it's what you're willing to let go of. Thank you for watching this to the end. See you in the next video, and I wish you all the best.